To the cloud. All right, y'all. Well, for those that have been attending our Belong at OSU series, welcome back. And to those that are new, we are glad that you are here today. So before we begin, like we usually do, I would like to say closed captioning is provided by PRI Court Reporting and is made available by clicking the CC tab at the bottom of the screen. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar called Push Through, Getting to the Finish Line. We are your hosts. I'm Dominique Holyfield, Diversity Program Manager, and accompanying me is Ahmed Hassan, who is the Program Coordinator, and we're both working at the graduate school here at The Ohio State University. So just a few housekeeping tips before we start our session. In response to the current health crisis and its impact on campuses, specifically our campus here for the fall semester, Ohio State has shifted our graduate student recruitment strategy to virtual webinars, hence why we're here right now. This series is designed to guide you from start to finish through all facets of the graduate application process. Now today, we're going to go over a general overview of that. So each session has been previously recorded and has been posted on our graduate school website. We will provide you all the link in the chat box soon to come. Now, if you have any technical difficulties during today's webinar, we suggest that you leave the webinar and rejoin through the link that was sent to you via email. We also recommend shutting down other programs during today's session as they slow down the video and audio. If you have any questions during today's session, you can submit your answers using the Q&A box below, or once we have arrived to the end of the presentation, we will allow all participants to use their audio and video to engage us and ask questions for themselves. Feel free to use the chat box to share any comments throughout the session. We love engagement, y'all. Lastly, please take a moment to fill out a survey that will pop up at the end of the session so that we can make every effort to improve the quality of our series for future use. We welcome and appreciate all feedback. This is our last webinar series, as I said earlier. So we will share the link to all the recorded sessions in the chat box. So don't forget, we will definitely do that for those who would like a recap on past content. As for now, this is our time to address questions you all may have about the application process, fee waivers, about Ohio State, application materials, etc. But before we dive into your questions, we want to touch base on a few things. First, starting with like key challenges that are also can be reframed as opportunities, and a review of, hold on, my screen's not changing. There we go. Key challenges that can be reframed as opportunities, a review of the application process, and of course, opening up the floor for you all to ask us any questions that you may have regarding the things that we've talked about or things that you may just have questions about in regards to OSU. So as we move forward, I would like to pass it on to my colleague Ahmed to talk a little bit about some of these challenges that can be reframed as opportunities.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today on our last session. Before we get into the application process and some of the questions that you may have as it regards to the application process or your graduate school search, we do want to point out some of the challenges that you may face as you are going through your graduate school search process. We know that a lot of students experience imposter syndrome while going through this process. We'll go more in detail what that is in our next slides. We also are aware that you may face other challenges or factors that may play into your graduate school search, such as navigating through the complexity of higher education itself. We know that the graduate school process, it's way different than your undergraduate school admission process. there's that nature of it being a decentralized, uh, you know, nature to the higher a graduate school process. Specifically, when it comes to the admission process, we know that that can be overwhelming. Other added factors that may impact your graduate school search this year, which includes the COVID-19 epidemic, and also racial injustices. My colleague Dominique will discuss this in further details on how Ohio State is going to ensure your safety when it comes to COVID-19, and what Ohio State, or how Ohio State is responding to racial injustices. Imposter syndrome, it's a phenomenon. During the application process in your graduate school search, you may face what experts describe as imposter syndrome. Some of you may feel a sense of doubt as it relates to applying to graduate school. For some, this feeling of feeling imposter doesn't go away once you're a graduate student, because some of you may be the only person of color or woman in your graduate program. That feeling of inadequacy may creep back up to you. Ways in which you can overcome this phenomenon, this sense of feeling imposter, is finding a sense of community once you get to Ohio State, or whatever institution that you may end up in. We do want to point out that feeling like you're an imposter, that the self-doubt, that you're not good enough to go into this school or to be in this program, you're not the only one that have these kind of feelings. One of our greatest literary figures, poet and author like Maya Angelou, also felt like she was an imposter. Here's one of her quotes. I have written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they're going to find out now that I've run a game on everyone, and that they're going to find out about her. So we do want to assure you that this sense of self-doubt, that you're not good enough for a particular program or area of discipline that you may reach out to, that these are normal feelings to have. And we're going to talk about more on what it is, so that you are able to have a better understanding of how to overcome it. Experts define imposter syndrome as a collection of feelings of inadequacy that proceed in the face of information that indicate the opposite is true. It is experienced internally as a chronic self-doubt, a feeling of intellectual fraudulence. If you're worried about GPA or your GRE scores, don't let self-doubt and anxiety about these requirements that that you believe some colleges, some programs pay more attention to prevent you from applying to them. Ohio State specifically takes a holistic process to the admission process. More programs are removing the GRE requirement as we move forward, as they indicate that they are not something that shows that whether or not a student is equipped to handle their program. So some of our programs are moving towards getting rid of the GRE requirements. It's okay to have this level of self-doubt. A lot of people experience these feelings. Keep in mind that there are always ways to cope and eliminate causes of this type of self-induced anxiety. One way to shape your graduate school experience is finding a mentor. And not only one type of a mentor that only focuses on your academic interest, but also a personal mentor, someone that you can vent to, someone who can better advise in how to deal with some of the feelings that you may have while you are going through the admission process or the graduate school search. Some programs require that you identify a faculty mentor. So talking to a faculty mentor about your anxieties of applying to their program may be helpful to you. but we feel that finding a mentor, both personally as well as professionally, is helpful in overcoming imposter syndrome. Mentors can demystify the stigma surrounding graduate school formalities, such as applying to graduate school, seeking out funding, research opportunities. The importance of having a mentor, someone that's familiar with the graduate school search, may result in higher level of confidence and awareness for those who may be experiencing imposter syndrome. Now I'll turn to my colleague to kind of discuss some of the other factors that may impact your graduate school search.
All right, awesome. I also want to respond to Tammy Tucker's response in the chat. As Timmy mentioned, there was a little pushback on the imposter syndrome being a feeling connected to being normal. I wouldn't say that it is a normal feeling, but it's common. It's a common experience that I think most people have felt and or experienced before, although more than recently, there's been a name attached to it, termed imposter syndrome or imposter phenomenon. I do think that these come along more often than not when you're in situations where, although you have all the skills and abilities to be successful, you might just feel overwhelmed and underprepared, especially if you are looking to come to a large R1 or large research institution like the Ohio State University. I know sometimes when I talk to students and mention the name, the Ohio State University, there tends to be a sense of, wow, this is a large campus. It's too big. I don't know if I'll be able to navigate it, especially coming from a small town or a smaller institution. But keep in mind, yes, Ohio State is a decentralized system with 5 regional campuses with more than 14,000 graduate and professional students and over 238 graduate professional programs. However, you can always take the time out now to explore it virtually, especially since we're operating on virtual platforms. Here in the chat, I'm going to put a link where you can take a virtual tour of what our campus looks like, because anything new will may seem burdensome or overwhelming, but it only takes that first step of just doing it to chip it away. They say the only way to eat away an elephant is one bite at a time. And that's how you should look at coming to a large R1 research institution. As my colleague mentioned, seeking out mentors and mentorships on campus, whether before you get here, during the application process, or even after that process, to help guide you along the way. That can help take some of that stress and alleviate some of that anxiety off your shoulders. It's also important to understand the differences in resources throughout our campus, and also in order to receive the appropriate support needed to best serve you as prospective students. One resource, which is what we're doing right now, the Belong at OSU series. Now that you've seen our faces and gotten to know us throughout this 8-week period, you can lean on us as resources to help guide you along this OSU system. Or you could ask us questions that you may have about the application process, which is what we're going to do once we're done with the presentation part of this webinar. Another one is we also can help identify appropriate campus contacts. For example, you have questions about your program or the application process that is specific to your program. We can point out to you the graduate program coordinator that can help address you and walk you through that process. We can also help share some insight on how to make your application more competitive. I am going to do a lot of shameless plugs here because I think this is very important to reiterate that it is important to lean on those that are putting themselves out there to help you. And we did our first webinar series about how to create a competitive application. Next, we're here to provide encouragement during this entire process, and so that you all can remain confident along the way, despite having to deal with the ups and downs of COVID-19, despite having to deal with the uncertainties of how this process and the outcome is going to be of you getting in, or you receiving the good news that you're anticipating on having. It's always nice to know that there are people along this journey and process with you, and me and Ahmed are here to assist you with that. Not only that, that helps break down some of that imposter syndrome, as he mentioned earlier. That helps break it down, because it doesn't end once you get in or once you are done applying to The Ohio State University. So I also want to reiterate that upon your arrival to campus, we really strongly recommend that you establish both formal and informal relationships, and you can consider these mentoring relationships or peer-to-peer relationships on campus to help stimulate and enhance your academic growth and help meet your diverse needs. As my colleague said earlier, having those contacts will help build up your confidence, will help guide you in the right direction, and it will help you because you won't have to know everything for yourself. You can lean on other people to help you figure those things out. Next, as we all are battling with COVID-19, especially now with cases on the rise, we just wanted to share with you how this may impact your graduate search here at Ohio State. So moving forward, talking about COVID-19, Ohio State has created a dashboard which provides a regularly updated status of COVID-19 across Ohio and within the campus community. It also includes the availability of quarantine and isolation space, personal protective equipment such as face masks, gloves, sanitizer, and also cleaning protocols that we do here on our campus on a daily basis. This helps guide our campus's decision-making related to on-campus operations, health and safety measures, and more throughout the fall semester. So speaking of fall semester, currently, our students are leaving campus for the remainder of the semester and will continue to work virtually to the completion of the fall semester. And this is to ensure their safety and everyone else on campus's safety. And these are decisions that are influenced by our governor, influenced by the president of the university, as well as the departments here on our campus. Next, and this is a big thing as we move on to racial injustice here, as we all have witnessed civil unrest as a result of racial injustice against underrepresented communities, especially the Black and Latinx community. We just wanted to share some of the things that Ohio State is doing to address racial inequities, because that's definitely important. One, they're developing a publicly available diversity dashboard to support Ohio State's efforts to be more of an equitable community in terms of transparency and accountability. Two, Ohio State is offering ways to standardize diversity and equity training on our campuses, which is open to to all faculty, staff, and students. I have taken advantage of some of these virtual trainings, and they have come in handy and they've been advantageous to me, especially learning about anti-racism tactics, how to embed anti-racist training into your curriculum, things of that nature. Number three, Ohio State is also creating a university-wide comprehensive strategy to develop a talent pipeline. Now, the main goal is to increase diversity on all levels among students, faculty, and staff, whether that is coming on campus to take classes or to diversify the employment numbers here for jobs here on our campus. Now, and knowing how all that may impact your graduate search, and these are things that you want to keep in mind. We want to make sure that you know what Ohio State is doing to address these public concerns, racial injustices, COVID-19, and also that we know that we're large, but we have systems and supports in place to help guide you along the way. Now, in order to get you to that finish line, we must start at the application process. So now we're going to show you how to guide you from start to finish, from the beginning to the end, on how to submit a good competitive application, but also show you the ins and outs of what that looks like. Ahmed, take it away.
So there are many steps related to the application process, but today's session, we can't go over all of them. Rather, we are intending to highlight key facets of the application. I will pull up the application itself, show you how to create an account, and then proceed to completing your application. I do want to mention that make sure that, if you are considering Ohio State, that you have made contact with your intended graduate programs, that you have researched the faculty members that you may be considering want to work with. This is the best time to do that if you haven't done so. Remember that some programs do require that you secure a faculty mentor in order to be admitted to their programs. Do visit your departmental sites to find faculty members who may be interested in the same research interest as you, who may have the same research interests as you. I'll go ahead and share, Dominique, my screen with your attendees. I know a lot of students have issue with our application when it comes to what internet browser to use. We recommend either Firefox or Internet Explorer. Doesn't seem to work well with Chrome, but to create an account, you would go to the Graduate and Professional Admissions website, gpadmissions.osu.edu. Here you would find your degree or program. This is also where you would find your program information or the departmental websites. Let's say if you're interested in anatomy, PhD, the program information, it's here. You can either email or give them a call. Here, their information about cost, funding, criteria. Here, they usually list the general university criteria, but most of the time, the programs will link their websites for their application requirements. And this will take you directly to the program departmental website. But to create an application, this is the longer way. I just wanted to show you what other tabs are there so that you are able to find all the information that you can about your program. But you can either go through here to create your application or go to this site. That's an easy way to get. go.osu.edu/GP apply, and I'll put that in the chat box. Here, you can create an account, or if you already have it, you log in. It's pretty simple. Name, first name, email, it's all that's needed. You create your username and password. I'm already logged in. These are all the examples I've given in the past. So let me open an application that's currently active for autumn 2021. There are slight difference with the application when it comes to the program tab. This is where certain programs will list program-specific things. But our application, I believe, is very simple. We have a couple of tabs: personal data, contact data, academic program, and then final steps. This is what it looks like. I do want to focus on the program tab and the final tab for our purpose here. For instance, chemistry program may ask you specific programs here. So they want to know your research focus. So this is something that you would indicate here. Please let me know if I'm going too fast. They do want you to write a brief explanation of any additional research interests that you may have, explain what your research interests are further, and other requirements that they may want you to. The other important thing that I want to point out on this is the Graduate Enrichment Fellowship. So we noticed that a lot of the students take a lot of time with their personal statement. We also think equally that the Graduate Enrichment Fellowship, it's not an essay, it's 500 words or less. We believe that you should give as much time and consideration that you do for your personal statement when you're doing your Graduate Enrichment Fellowship as well. This is open to all students, graduate who consider. So the way in which a lot of students get discouraged because generally they think that the Graduate Enrichment Fellowship is only for students of a certain identity background. But the graduate school considers diversity to be a broad definition concept. So please read through. Here they said that it's not limited to ethnic background or socioeconomic disadvantages. In a way in which they want you to talk about it is describe how you would bring diversity to the graduate school community here at Ohio State. So this is one graduate fellowship in which you have some control over. Other fellowships, you will have to be nominated by your program. Here, you can showcase why you are, why you should be considered for this particular fellowship. So please do take your time when writing this. We do stress that. On our final tab, this is where you would attach documents. I do want to mention that you can attach your CV, your personal statement during the submission of your applications. However, you can always submit your personal statement and other application materials once the application itself has been submitted through GP Admissions website. You would use the application uploader. You can use that uploader once your application has been processed and you have an Ohio State login information. And you can find that here under additional resources. Many of you who are participating in this webinar series will have an application fee waiver. So when submitting the application, let me go back to the final tab here. You can select one of these. I'm sorry, hang on. One of these. And Dominique, which one would it be? Just by looking at this, you're muted.
10 Academic Alliance fee waiver.
The Big 10 Academic Alliance is the one that you would select. And then you would submit your application. I do want to, I'll go ahead and unstop. I do want to mention that the application deadlines, some programs adhere to their deadlines more strictly than others. If you're applying to graduate PhD programs, a lot of the graduate PhD programs follow the fellowship deadline, which is December 1st. So please be mindful of the deadlines, be mindful of some of the program requirements that in addition to some of the application materials that you need to submit, some programs may have additional requirements that you may need to submit. Please go to their departmental websites, contact the program coordinators to know if there are any additional requirements through that specific program that you're applying to, and making sure that all the application materials are submitted on time to the Graduate and Professional Admissions Office. Please do call them to confirm that all of your application materials have been received. You don't want to be in a situation where it is November 30th and you want to meet the December 1st deadline to be considered for funding, and not all of your application materials have been submitted and received by that deadline. If your program requires GRE, please make sure that you are contacting ETS and you are sending it to the 1592, which is our Ohio State code, that it is coming directly from them to the Office of Graduate and Professional Admissions.
All right.
Now we're gonna open the floor to
Some questions.
and I see that we have several on the chat box.
Let's start with the first one. So this was from a student that had to leave a little earlier for a work meeting, but they wanted to know, could you show how to send a letter of recommendation request? I filled the cells that asked for my recommender's info, but none of them have received an email. Maybe there is a button that says send, or is the request only sent after I submit my entire application?
Yes, so the way the letters of recommendation work, especially at Ohio State, is that once you submit your application, then an email will be sent out to your recommenders to complete the letters of recommendation on your behalf. That's why it's also important that you plan this out and that you're very intentional, that that you are giving your recommenders enough time for them to complete your letters of recommendation and submit it on time for the deadlines that you are trying to meet. Yes, the notifications to complete the letters of recommendation depends upon when the application is submitted and when it's processed.
All right. Next question.
And that usually happens 24 hours to 48 hours after the application has been submitted.
Next question. Do you have to finish everything from the application in one setting, or can you finish some parts, save, and then come back to finish more sections?
Yeah, so you can save and then come back. The other way in which I thought this question was also implying is that the application itself can be submitted without all of your application materials, such as the personal statement or your CV or resume. Those items or transcripts don't have to be attached in order for the application to be submitted as well. But yes, you can save your application and come back and complete the rest. So I feel like that question can be reframed in those two different ways. I want to go back to that other question earlier about the letters of recommendation. The student may also mean it in a way in which once they receive the notifications to complete the letters of recommendation, you as the person requesting it can also notify your recommenders and send them reminders, and I can show you how to do that. But you would need to have submitted your application. You have activated your OSU username in order to do this. You can go and let me put this on the chat box. You can go.osu.edu/LOR. If you go to that link, you can update your recommenders contact information. Let's say the email was not inputted properly during the application. You can go there, edit their emails. You can also send them reminders. You can delete and add another reference person. You can do all that using that link. But be sure that once the application is submitted that you have activated your OSU username.
Awesome. Next question. Can the GE statement be submitted after the application is submitted as an uploaded document?
GE is usually something that you would input with the application. It's not submitted with a differently like you would for your personal statement, which is a separate document.
Okay. Next question. If you are applying for 2 programs, can you use this fee waiver for both or just one?
Just one.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ahmet. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you only get one fee waiver for the whole year. So you can only use it for that. We always recommend students who are considering applying to do 2 different programs or want to pursue like a dual program when you're here at Ohio State. You can once you're admitted to your program. I know that this question is asking if you're applying to 2 separate programs, can you use it for both? No, you cannot. You would use fee waiver for one, and then unfortunately you would have to pay your application fee for the other. But for those of you who may be considering applying to a dual program, meaning you're pursuing 2 graduate programs concurrently, you can be admitted to the other to one, and then once you're a student here, you can add on to the next the other program that you want to pursue.
And in the chat, I put in the link to graduate and professionals admissions list of fee waivers because some of you may be eligible for other fee waivers that are outside of the Big Ten Academic Alliance eligibility requirements. So that goes to our next question. Hello, this is
I do want to say something about that. I think they also follow that rule that Ohio State can only provide one fee waiver per year.
Yes.
So you may end up having to pay the application fee for the other one.
So the next question is, hello, this is Simon from Uganda. Did you say I also qualify for fee waivers because of attending this webinar meeting? Actually, the webinars are, not the webinars, the application fee waivers are only eligible for permanent residents and U.S. citizens. International students are not eligible for the Big Ten Academic Alliance. However, you may inquire with your program to see if they would be willing to provide any type of funding assistance or funding support that can be put toward your application fees.
Yeah, and also I do want to add that some programs do put in the bill for the application. So for instance, I know that with the mathematics department and chemistry would pay 95% of your application fee. So for instance, if the application fee is $60 or $70 for international students, they'll pay $65 and you'll pay $5. So please be sure to contact your programs and see if they're able to do something similar to that. I know that different types of graduate programs here do that for their international applicants.
All right. Next question. How long after I submit my application can I expect a response?
So like I was saying earlier, the application is processed 24 hours to 48 hours. Oh, in response to your admission decision, because that can also imply that. Well, I'll cover both. Once the application is submitted, it is processed from our end 24 hours to 48 hours. You'll receive an email from Ohio State asking you to activate your OSU username, which is your last name .number, so that you're able to access your applicant center. There you will see all of your checklist items for the application, application materials that have been received. This is where you would monitor your application status. But the other flip side, because I feel like some of these questions can be misinterpreted different ways. As far as decisions, so our offices, the graduate school or even the graduate and professional admissions office have nothing to do with the admission decision. That is solely on the graduate programs. So do reach out to the graduate programs, your intended graduate programs, and ask them what their timeline is like. Some programs will wait until all the application materials have been received and the deadline has passed in order for them to start reviewing the application. Some programs will do it as an ongoing thing where once a student submits their application and their application is complete, they'll go ahead and start reviewing it and then make decisions on an ongoing process. But some programs will also take the latter approach, in which they wait until the deadline has passed, all the applications have been submitted, then the admission committee, which is usually the faculty members of that programs, to start reviewing your application. I know that as far as just timeline, January, February, it's when the fellowship decisions are being made, or nomination process takes place. So just to kind of give you a mental picture of what that looks like, you should have received your deadline towards the end of December, mid-December, towards beginning of January, because in order for them to start the nomination process for funding, they would have already admitted you to the program.
All right.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Next question. I have submitted my applications, paid the fee, got my transcript sent, but the applicant center on my end shows transcript still listed as to do item. How long does it take to have that resolved? I had the transcript sent to gpadocs.osu.edu.
So if it's been a couple of days, do give them 3 to 5 business days for application material or checklist items to be completed. But if you still see that your checklist item hasn't been completed and that you know for sure that you've submitted your transcript, do contact the Graduate and Professional Admissions Office and let them know. Sometimes the system may not complete your checklist item as your application materials come in. You can always contact an admission counselor and they can complete your the checklist item as they see that your application materials have been received. Also, I do want to mention, as far as transcripts are concerned, sometimes students send advising reports and they may think that that may be sufficient to complete their transcript requirement for the application to be reviewed. The transcript has to be an actual transcript. Ohio State defines an official and unofficial based on how it's sent. So if it's sent by the student, it is automatically unofficial. If it's sent by the institution directly to us, that's considered an official. But be sure that, if your checklist item hasn't been completed, be sure to, to inquire about it to the Graduate and Professional Admissions Office. It could be one that it was an oversight, the checklist item wasn't completed, that your transcript is there, or you might have submitted the wrong document. Some students do submit advising report thinking that that may be sufficient to complete their transcript requirements.
All right. This is the next question. Just to clarify, can I upload a GMAT score after the application is submitted? In my application, I use the plan to take option.
I'm sorry, I was just reading a question about the transcript. Before I answer that one, Dominique, if you upload it with the application system, then you don't have to resend it. That it goes directly to the admissions office. But if your checklist item hasn't been updated in a very long time, please, by long time I mean a week or more, please do contact the Graduate and Professional Admissions Office and inquire that your transcript has been received. Is it Flack? As far as the admission, in order for your application to be reviewed, an unofficial transcript that comes from you is sufficient for your application to be considered complete. Once you're admitted to the university, then an unofficial transcript must come directly from your registrar's office directly to the Graduate and Professional Admissions Office. But for the purpose of the admission review process, you can submit an unofficial transcript from your end. Sorry about that, Dominique. And what was the question?
Just to clarify, can I upload a GMAT score after the application is submitted? In my application, I use the plan to take option.
Yeah, so Ohio State doesn't accept any self-reporting test scores. So for GMAT or GRE, they have to come directly from your from the testing center. Unfortunately, you uploading your GMAT scores will be considered as self-reported test scores. It's different than transcripts. Transcripts can be sent by the student or uploaded by the student, but with the test scores, it needs to be sent directly from the testing center.
Okay. Does the fee waiver apply to employees? The fee waiver does not exclude employees. The fee waiver is specifically for prospective students. So if you just so happen to be an employee that's interested in going back to school and you meet the eligibility requirements, then it is befitting for you. I hope that answers the question. All right, next question. If I was in the GPS recruitment initiative and used this fee waiver for something else, can I not use this fee waiver? Or can I, because this is a fee waiver from a different resource?
That's a good question. So what I will say about that is, yes, they are two different fee waivers. However, as much as Ohio State is a very decentralized as far as our graduate school process, we do have one individual who approves all fee waivers. So she'll know whichever fee waivers that you use. So unfortunately, we do have some way of quality ensuring that you only get to use one fee waiver for the academic year.
That is correct. Next question. We're going through these, and these are some great questions.
Yes, they are.
How many GE fellowships are distributed?
That's a good question. Dominique and I know a very general information about the funding process. The GE nomination process is also through your graduate programs. You can contact your graduate program and ask the program coordinator and say, historically, how many students do you guys yearly nominate for the GE or other fundings that, like the university fellowships? They're able to answer that question for you. But as far as any specific number that Dominique and I know, unfortunately, we don't.
And you could also reach out to our fellowship services area here at the grad school. They may be able to provide that information for you. So in the chat, I'm gonna put their email as well as their phone number in case you would like to reach out to them directly. But that's a really good question. All right. Next one. If I'm an OSU student and have already sent transcripts from another school I took courses at, do I need to still send my transcript from this school for my graduate application to OSU?
No, if you've already submitted transcripts, if you're an Ohio State student and have submitted an official transcript, as long as you haven't taken any courses since you've submitted that transcript, that you do not need to resend that transcript again. We should have that in our system. Also, I do want to add a little caveat to that. The system that we house our application material was incepted in 2012. If that information was sent prior to 2012, you may be required to resend that transcript again, just so that you know. I've seen students who've been in a similar situations. They might have sent it in 2010 or 11. And unfortunately, the new system that we have, we start using it in 2012. So all the application materials or transcript or whatnot that were submitted prior to that, unfortunately, will need to be resubmitted if you're applying to a new program.
If I uploaded the transcript to the online application, do I still need to send the transcript to the admissions office?
I'm sorry, can you read that one more time?
If I upload the transcript to the online application system, do I still need to send the transcript to the admissions office?
No, I think, and I might have answered that question earlier. No, you do not. Once it's submitted to the application, just be sure to check your checklist item that the application, the transcript has been received, but you only need it to send it through one source. Either attach it to the application, or if you haven't done that, send it to the GPA docs.
Okay.
Email or use the admission uploader.
And is it an advising report the same as an unofficial transcript?
No, an advising report is just that. It's an advising report. A transcript would be one that you would request from your registrar's office. You usually pay a fee to have it sent. Some schools may give you a free one once you graduate, I believe. But when you're a student, you would need to request a transcript, and that would have to be an actual transcript that comes from your registrar's office. An advising report is usually what your academic advisors use to advise you on what classes to take and how to meet your degree requirements. And that's different than what an actual transcript is.
Next question. I got my bachelor's degree outside the US. I have the sealed envelopes, which includes my official transcripts. Will this envelope be considered as an official transcript, even if it doesn't come from the university directly?
Yes. And you can tell them that Ahmed Hassan with the graduate school has said this. Yes, I used to be an admission counselor in the graduate and professional admissions office. We did have a lot of international students who submit their official transcripts in person. As long as it is sealed in your envelopes, we can take that and accept it as an official transcript.
All right. Next, the deadline for my application was November 15th. I've completed the application. What are my next steps? Will there be an interview or do I just wait?
It is a waiting game. I also recommend that you reach out to your program coordinators to just kind of get a timeline of when, how the application process goes. Some programs may not require an interview, some do. It just depends on what programs that you have applied to. I will say that reaching out to the program coordinator is the best way to go about understanding what is the next step and what you should be doing. But if you've submitted the application, you've submitted all of your application material, unfortunately, it's just you're in that space where you just have to wait and see when that decision will be posted on your applicant center.
All right. That's all our questions. We answered all the questions.
Wonderful. I mean, you do have access to use the mics. If you have not, if you feel comfortable in speaking with us, please feel free to do so. We do want to make this more interactive so that we are able to answer your questions that way too. Mm-hmm. Does different graduate program have different deadlines of the application? Yes. Some programs will have like a program date where if you don't want to be considered for funding, the deadline may be sometime in March, for instance. So yes, some programs do have different deadlines, but we always encourage students who are applying to PhD programs to submit their application on December 1st. So that's when the fellowship deadline is. But yes, to answer your question, programs do have different deadlines.
All right.
And that's the example that you've seen. Yeah, some programs will have their deadlines being January 15th, but if you want to be considered for funding, that deadline may be earlier than that.
All right. Any other questions, y'all? Because we got 6 more minutes. Well, in the meantime, in between time, while we're waiting on questions, we do have a couple of resources that we want to share with you all in case. Oh, any final tips for folks?
Yes. Well, I've kind of said these through the course of our Q&A. Make sure all the application materials have been submitted. Make sure you've contacted the graduate and professional admissions to inquire that your application materials have been received. Make sure that if you want to be considered for funding, that you are meeting that funding deadlines. Contact that you have hopefully, if you're applying for this upcoming fall, that you've already established relationship with your program, that you know who your program coordinator is, that you've reached out to a faculty member in that program, and that you've done all of that prior to being admitted to the program. If you haven't done so, it's never too late. Please do contact your graduate programs and establish those relationships with those key individuals. You know, one would be beneficial because they are resourceful. You know, they'll remember your name during the during the review process, the kind of impression that you made. That you know, those kind of things may be some things that they may consider. Not to say that uh, that if you don't do that, that that would be something that would adversely impact your graduate admission or decision. But be sure, I always recommend students to reach out to their programs and establish relationships. Dominique, do you have any any final tips?
I'd say make sure before you submit everything, make sure to give it a good look over. Have a few people look at it to make sure that it looks good. Don't saturate yourself with too many people looking at it, because then it start to change the tone and the look and the feel of your materials, such as your GE statement or your personal statement. And be confident and steadfast in moving forward, and pay attention to those deadlines. They're very important. And don't think that just because during this application process, you may talk to them and have questions, that'll be the last time you'll speak with them. Still engage with them even after the fact, because you might have additional questions or you might need to lean on those individuals in the future. So those are my tips.
Yeah, it looks like we have a question here. Just extra question. During the global epidemic, is the competition from admission more intensive than before before COVID? I wouldn't say that there. Some of these programs do have an aerobic requirement that they follow. In which they review your application, and a method to how they make their decisions. So I will say the only change that I've seen is that some programs are not requiring GRE as a result of COVID. So whether or not a GRE may be something that you may be concerned with as it regards to your application process. Some programs are not requiring GRE. So if that's the only thing that you've been concerned about, that you think may impact your admission chances, then I think now is a better time to apply to graduate school, because some of these programs are not requiring a GRE score to be submitted with your application materials. Hopefully that answers your question. We have another one. Are you all available to review our application packets? Well, it's application. We can review your, if you want to contact Dominique and I and make an appointment with, we can go through your, help you go through the application, or if you've already went through it and you want us to just kind of look at it prior to you submitting it, you can make an appointment with Dominique and I and help you with that.
Mm-hmm. Also, our colleague, Marcellus Turnage, too.
Yes.
Let me bring up his contact information. There we go. So, like Ahmed mentioned, you could also reach out to us if you would like for us to look at your application materials and review them. I know that our other colleague, Carolyn Morales, who's the Assistant Dean of Diversity here at the Graduate School, she has a English background and loves to look at personal statements, GE statements, to make sure that they are as polished and well thought of and put together as possible. So you could reach out to her as well if you would like to get feedback from her. Also, our colleague Marcellus Turnage is an admissions counselor, and he assists students with completing their application. And there's his contact at GPA admissions at osu.edu.
Yeah, And I do want to mention that your programs are also a good resource. Do contact your program coordinators if there are any additional program requirements or things that you would need to do in order to complete the application itself. Make sure that you are contacting them as well.
Rachel brought up a really good question. If you are applying for a graduate program because you aren't sure you will get into med school, dentist school, etc., would you not want to put this on your personal statement as a reason for applying to their program? Oh, go ahead.
Well, my take on that is just that you don't want to make the impression that, this is, although we know in reality that you always need to have a backup plan if your first plan doesn't work out. And I believe in honesty. However, it just needs to be framed in a way that doesn't make it seem like the program in which your second option isn't as important as getting into med school or dental school.
I think that is my colleague has a way about it, feels a way about it. And I think that's it's a very subjective question, which you're going to get differing opinions. I feel as though that shouldn't be addressed in your personal statement. In that personal statement, you should be expressing why you're interested in that program and why that program will benefit you. I think that if you try to make it or try to communicate that, yes, I am interested in this, but I'm also interested in another program, then that could possibly hinder your chances. But again, I'm not on the committee and I don't make those final decisions, but I would say put your best foot forward. And if you look like you have one foot in another place and the other in the next, then you're kind of split in between the two. I would say give it your all 100%. And this is what I want from the program. This is what I can give to the program for both programs that you may be interested in. But I wouldn't let them know that you are swaying between two. That's just my personal opinion.
No, I do agree with Dominique. Just try to, I feel like it's always good to frame it in a way that doesn't seem, that you are offending or saying anything that may be construed in a different way with the audience in which you're writing to. So just be mindful of your audience and see whether or not certain things that you say may be misconstrued to meaning something differently than that you hoped that it would be.
Well, you all, it's 3 minutes after, and we have gone over. We appreciate all your questions, feedback, and comments. We want to thank you for attending our last webinar. This is the last hurrah. If you have any additional questions that come to your mind after we end, please feel free to reach out to us at gradrecruit@osu.edu. We will also email you all this PowerPoint so you have these resources on hand. But if you have specific questions about application materials or the application process, as we mentioned earlier, you could contact Marcellus Turnage, admissions counselor for the Office of Graduate and Professional Admissions. And if you'd like to reach out to us about today's session, you could contact us at the email that's listed on the screen. Before we end the session, please provide us your feedback about how this went. Any ideas for future sessions would be ideal too. It'll only take 1 minute of your time. But until then, until we see you all here on our campus, please be safe, enjoy your time, take some time for yourselves as well, because there's a lot going on, and continue to stay encouraged. And we'll see you all at another time. Have a good one.
Yeah, and good luck to you on this graduate search process. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. You guys have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.